Hi everyone, so today I want to talk a little bit about a topic that's not necessarily related to hearing loss, though it can apply, and that's the idea of the fight or flight state, typically related to fear. Most people with hearing loss, or at least a lot of them, experience what is called hearing loss anxiety. Not being able to hear very well can mean that you are not able to hear sirens or warning noises when you're outside. You may not be able to hear danger, or it may be something as mild as worrying that you're not going to hear your name being called at the doctor's office. You're not going to be able to understand what is being said on the phone when you have an important business call. So all of these things related to can trigger that state of fight or flight, that idea of like, get me out of here. And certainly now, with what's been going on, the coronavirus, the protests and all of the things that have been happening here in the U.S., the horrific murder that a lot of us unfortunately saw online, it's all putting us into this state of fight or flight and this idea of fear. So what happens with fight or flight? So you are in a situation that seems stressful or seems dangerous, whether it's an actual dangerous situation or not. For some people, just watching something on the news may trigger it, or maybe you're stressed out about something. You're in traffic jams, or you're worried about work, and your body becomes aroused. So your eyes taking something, your senses taking something, and it says danger to you. Your amygdala is your primary fight or flight state. That's where you're going to get that fear. So the amygdala says there's something dangerous. It then transmits that message to the other parts of the body. To the other parts of the brain, the parahippocampus, and different parts of the brain, which then signal a release of adrenaline, because adrenaline is going to pump you up. It's going to prep you up for either a fight, or it's going to prep you up to be able to flee. So that fight or flight state. So what happens when you get that fight or flight state? Blood is shunted to the most vital organs. So it's going to go to your heart. It's up there. Okay, it's going to go to your heart. It's going to go to your limbs. So getting your dukes up, so to speak, or getting your legs pumped to get out of there, to start running. It's going to go to your brain. A lot of times your senses become sharper, but I have heard posts where people have said, especially if they have hearing loss, it's very harder for them to lip read, it's harder for them to hear. It's because your blood and your energy is going to get shunted to what the brain deems your most essential organs. Those are going to help you get out of there or deal with the crisis. So energy levels raise, adrenaline levels raise. To keep that adrenaline high, you're then going to get an influx of cortisol. So what is cortisol going to do? It's going to keep the adrenaline levels up. But over time, cortisol does a few other things. Mainly it makes you hungrier, and it gets you to store fat. So it's not a good state to be in. It's good when you're dealing with an emergency, but it's not a good state to be in on a continual basis. However, especially like I said, with everything that's been going on lately, the pandemic, and the crises that we've seen, the racial injustices that we've seen, the riots, the looting that is going along with that, unfortunately, those are all triggering a state of fight or flight in a lot of people, triggering that the arousal of that sympathetic nervous system in the body. In a normal state, you face danger, the danger passes, and the parasympathetic system, your rest or digest, takes over. This kind of brings everything back to homeostasis, calms everything down. You can relax, it's a rest and digest system, so you can eat, you can go about your day. But if you're constantly in that fight or flight system, your adrenaline is up high, your cortisol levels are up high, and over time that's going to trigger a state of exhaustion. It's going to increase blood pressure, which then may lead to cardiovascular disease. It's going to take a lot of wear and tear on your organs. Your mental state is going to take a toll, and you may find yourself with more anxiety. So all of these things are kind of cascading as you're constantly being put in this fight or flight, this fear system, and you're not sure how to deal with it. If it continues, your body is going to go into exhaustion, into a state of deterioration. To prevent utmost deterioration, you're either most likely going to either get ill or you're going to slip into a state of depression, because that is your body's way of calming everything down and kind of putting the brakes on you so you don't wear yourself out completely. What can help with that? Breathwork a lot of times can help with that. Breathing is a powerful way to activate the vagus nerve, which works with the parasympathetic system, and it does activate the parasympathetic system in general. So when you find yourself in that state of anxiety, especially if you're not in immediate danger at that moment, the best way is to help calm yourself down is to take some deep breath. So when I breathe with your nose, out with your mouth, and your exhale should be about twice the length of your inhale. So if you do 10 breaths of that sort, that can help your body. Remember to breathe in and let your stomach expand and then deflate. So when you're breathing chest only, that can actually trigger more of that sympathetic arousal, more of that fight or flight state. So you want to let your chest expand, let your stomach expand, let the sides of your rib cage expand, and continue that for a period of 10, maybe or 20 breaths until you find yourself into a state of calm and activating that parasympathetic system. So that's just a little tip that I wanted to give to all of you right now. I know we're going through some very difficult times. Some of us are experiencing it more than others, but just remember to control your breath. That is so important right now, to be able to control our breath, control our breathing, and allow ourselves to manually bring us back into that parasympathetic state, that state of homeostasis where everything is in balance, rather than constantly being in that state of fight or flight. Alright, and until next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye.